If such firearms are covered by licenses, but without the permission of the armed forces of the Philippines, is punishable with death. Curfew is established from 12 o'clock midnight to 4 o'clock in the morning. The departure of Filipinos abroad is temporarily suspended. Exceptions, of course, are official missions that may be necessary. Clearances will be given by the Secretary of National Defense. In the meantime, rallies and demonstrations are prohibited. So too are strikes, especially in critical...
It is made to appear as if I just signed the decree and said, I impose martial law on each and every one of you. No. I ask the legislature to please pass a law proclaiming martial law because there was anarchy in the country. Now, let me say this. The opposition was strong, and they were members of the Security Council, and somehow they had adopted a resolution which required that there be a unanimous vote for the armed forces to be able to move. And therefore, the armed forces was immobilized. At the same time, I asked the opposition party to come and join me in a coalition government. I offered one half of the cabinet. And of course, they laughed at me and said, why should we join you? We're going to take over the government. By the time you are through with the exercise, you're dead, politically and otherwise. So, and they refused to join me. I asked the advice of the judiciary. I asked the Supreme Court justices, the Court of Appeals justices, and the members of the private sector. And all of them told me there's only one man who can proclaim martial law, and that is the president. And you are it. You are the only one who can proclaim martial law. This is why I must carry this particular mark in our history. I could not have transferred it to the legislature. Why? Because the legislature did not have the power. What does the Constitution provide? The President shall be the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, and he may order the armed forces out to quell any disorder, riot, rebellion, invasion, insurrection, and in case of invasion, insurrection, rebellion, or imminent danger thereof, when the public safety requires it, he may suspend the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus or proclaim martial law throughout the Philippines or any part thereof. What does that provision provide? It provides that only the President can proclaim martial law. I repeat, that is why I had to assume responsibility. And I am not one for shirking duty. The people said there was necessity for proclaiming martial law. And the people said, you are the only official who can proclaim martial law. So I proclaimed martial law, and I sincerely believed that it was necessary to proclaim martial law to install order and stability because there was complete anarchy throughout the country at the time. Now, therefore, at that particular period, what was the status of our government? Our government was immobilized, impotent. The armed forces could not move out. The industry was not at all in any way moving. There was no income coming into government. Everybody was running away. They burned the U.S. partly burned the U.S. embassy, tried to burn it anyway. They tried to kidnap the American ambassador. American ambassador was Byron, Ambassador Byron. And they tried to kidnap our foreign minister, Romulo, whom you just saw today. And I told him, you better disappear because I will not ransom you.
Ask the Senator first. Anong recollection nyo and anong comparison ninyo quickly in this first part nung panahon ni Marcos at today?
Alam mo ka, Mentong, di kaila sa iyo na I was in the opposition during the time of President Marcos. And without being personal to him, I I opposed most of the issues he had, most of the policies that he had. But, you know, after his ouster, I told myself that it's very easy to demonize a person. But if you cannot glorify a person, do not just demonize him for personal aggrandizement. For example, nabanggit ko, Kamentong, na ako'y nasa oposisyon noong mga panahon na yon. Nang balaki ni Marcos na magkaroon ng combat team to be sent to tapos na Korea, na ipadadala sa Vietnam, I stood in the floor and hit away at the truth that we should not involve our country in a war that is not ours. At sa maraming mga miyembro ng Kamara, 7 lang kami, 7 lang, ang kumontra doon sa combat team na ipadadala sa Vietnam to go to war side by side with our brother Americans. If you know what I mean.
Brother Americans.
That's what they always say.
Just kidding.
But anyway, I got a call from no less than the president and told me that because of your opposition, we are going to just send a civic action group. Kaya yung combat team ay naging PhilCAG. Ewan ko lang kung naalala pa.
Philippine Civil Action ba?
Philippine Civil Action Group.
PhilCAG.
Na pinadala sa Vietnam.
Alam mo ba yun, James? Richard? Hindi pa. So matuto tayo kay Senator Velarde.
Noon kasing giyera sa Vietnam, tayo, nakipaglaban tayo sa kaaway ng Amerika. Maski hindi naman talaga natin kaaway.
Pero, Senator, we should note there, with your input, Marcos having to play diplomatic politics with the United States, which is still the power in the region then and even to a great extent today. He balanced it with your help. Instead of a combat team, he found an excuse to tell the Americans, look, hanggang civic action group lang kami. Which was good, which earned goodwill for the Philippines. And for you.
That's correct. Kamentong, alam po ninyo, yun si Marcos sinasabi na kung anong gusto niya, siya masusunod. He was very legalistic. At siya po ay nakikinig sa mga tao niya. Kaya,
at sa oposisyon, tulad sa yung PhilCAG nga.
Yung mga pinili niya mga tao nung araw, hanggang ngayon ay naglilingkod pa. Sapagkat yung mga pinili niyang tao ay may mga matinong pag-iisip. Now, sa peace and order, during his time, and during this time, ang peace and order natin ngayon ay grabe ang nangyayari. Kung ikukumpara natin yan sa peace and order nung araw, ang peace and order nung araw talagang meron tayong katahimikan. Maybe because of martial law, but we have existing laws that punish crime. And yet, the executive department cannot seem to execute existing laws.
Pero ang sabi naman nung iba na nakulong o may mga kapatid kamag-anak na nasawi sa labanan ng gobyerno, militar at yung mga dissenting forces and so on, pasista daw, malupit, what is your reaction to that? And we'll ask our young member here.
Well, I'm not just about to defend Marcos on that score, but I'll tell you that he as I said, he was very legalistic. Meron siyang dahilan kung bakit niya lalabanan. Katulad ng paglaban niya sa mga ideologues. Yung nagbomba sa amin sa Plaza Miranda.
Sa amin, kasama ka doon. Paalala lang natin.
Yeah.
You still have a sharpnel sa...
May bakal pa ako, kaya iika-ika ako ngayon, Karen. But that's almost 50 years ago, no? Nung tanungin niya ako kung sino daw ang nagpabomba sa amin, karamihan sa mga liberal party, sinabi niya si Marcos. Nung pagdating sa akin, sabi ko, I don't think Marcos is stupid because that was a very stupid thing to do.
For Marcos, kung si Marcos.
Yeah.
Kasi it would backlash against him.
That's
diba?
right. Kaya ako, hindi si Marcos ang nagpabomba.
Just to remind the audience, you were with the Liberal Party. The Plaza Miranda rally was the Liberal Party rally. Marcos was with the Nationalista Party. The Liberals were trying to put up a new candidate against
Yes.
against Marcos, and who were the alternatives? Ninoy, Jerry Rojas.
Jerry Rojas. Silang
Salonga.
dalawa. Yung dalawa.
Oo, yung dalawa mainly, no?
Si Salonga, medyo tapos na.
Tapos na.
na
And doon sa rally, nandun si Jerry, tinamaan din si Jerry. Si
Lahat kami nagkasugat.
Ninoy Aquino,
Wala.
hindi dumating.
Wala siya doon.
Kaya it raises a lot of questions. Let's go to Richard. Richard, what's your reaction to the discussion? And of course, your group now, Anak Bayan, would call Marcos a fascist, and so on. Although you were not always against Marcos. I know your history. You had favorable views, then you had transitioned, and you were recruited to those who are anti-Marcos and would call Marcos a fascist today. So what caused your transition, and what is your state of mind about these issues now?
Well, sa akin, yung noon, di ba, hindi man ako yung, tawag dito, yung anti, yung hardcore na anti. Kasi, mostly, mga binabasa ko noon, mga resources sa internet, ganyan. Tapos, tsaka lang nung na-recruit last year, no, na through mga pag-aaral, mga study groups, ayun, may basehan naman din kung bakit tinutulig sa si Marcos, not necessarily dahil sa niya, pagkatao mismo, no? Pero dahil sa mga yung mga nangyari noon. Maliban na lang yung mga nabanggit kanina, no? Mga katulad noon, yung siguro kung sa bagay nga yung halimbawa na lang sa peace and order, yung may naitala halos 4,000 murders, pero kung ilalatag mo sa isang time frame, konti pa rin siya kumpara sa mga sumunod sa kanya.
Okay. So, well, there are many aspects. We have part 2 which will be longer and will dwell more on the other issues. But there is one aspect that we are today saddled with, one problem, one crisis, energy crisis, electricity. And one of the crown jewels of the Marcos administration in terms of energy development was the Bataan Nuclear Power Plant, which was eventually cancelled. I prepared an audio of Marcos's last conversation, I think, with Cory Aquino by phone. Si Marcos nasa Makiki Heights na sa Hawaii, pero tumawag pa siya to make one appeal. So let's listen to this appeal. I was trying to look for a version na walang music, no? Pero I just got this from the YouTube, so may counting music, but the important thing is yung message ni Marcos. So let's make sure the audio is loud enough, no, para maintindihan ng audience natin. So let's roll that.
Bilinan ko kay Mrs. Corazon Aquino kaya pagpatuloy ang Bataan Nuclear Plant kung maaari. Sapagkat I told her this is the solution on meeting a country's energy demands and decreasing dependence on imported oil. Ngunit ayaw niyang tanggapin ang aking mungkahi at maalala daw ng taong bayan sa Marcos habang andyan ang Bataan Nuclear Plant. Anong klaseng pag-iisip yan? Ayan ay paghihigante, huwag natin idamay sambay ng Pilipino. Kanya balang araw, makikita ninyo, 20 years from now, baksak na ang Pilipinas.
Pero anong reaction niyo doon?
Alam po ninyo, marami akong natatanggap na messages sa akin at sulat sa aking kahapon lamang every Saturday and Sunday.
Anong station niya?
DCBB every Saturday and Sunday.
What
at
time?
1:30. Marami akong natatanggap na mungkahi na kung pwede daw buksan ang Bataan Nuclear Plant. Wala akong masagot sapagkat alam kong maraming ayaw diyan at saka ang kasalukuyang administrasyon alam kong ayaw diyan. So wala akong masagot diyan. Pero kung ako tatanungin ninyo, ang nuclear plant ay kailangan na kailangan.
Okay.
Sapagkat kailan mauubos ang langis natin sa ilalim ng lupa, hindi natin alam.
Okay.
Well, ang nakikinabangan ng langis natin, ibang bansa ang nakikinabang ngayon.
Maraming issues, technological and so on sa nuclear power, but I think the real issue there is yung paghahanda sa power needs ng bansa, di ba?